All right, everybody, we are live. I was just on the other camera, so you could only see the screen of the iPad. So, as you know, today we are drawing on the iPad, and I know already from the reactions in the comments here that some of you are like, "Oh my gosh, no!" Then grab a pen or grab a pencil. It's fine. I know I didn't draw on the iPad a whole lot this week, and I'm really excited to do this because, as you know, having moved to a new place, a lot of sketchbooks and a lot of paper is still put away, and the iPad is always available, so it's always a good thing. So, hello, everybody from everywhere. Thank you for being here. I'm noticing here that Sketchy is giving us this new promotion, and it's really interesting. It's a buy one, get one 80% off with the discount BOGO 80, and that expires in 1 month. But if you want, you can also grab two of my classes and get 20% off with the code. I believe it is Faces with France. That doesn't change. So two classes, 20% off. Or grab any class at Sketchy and one on top of that, 80% off with BOGO 80. So I hope the light will be good. You know, when I draw on the iPad, the camera doesn't do a fantastic job of really capturing the light the way I would like it to show on camera, but hopefully it's gonna work out, okay? Today we have a dark stone right here. And as you know, I'm a big fan of beards. I'm a big fan of expressions like this, of this kind of angle. I think we're going to have a lot of fun doing this together. And as you know, at the end of this, we go to the group Drawing Faces with France, Drawing with France on Sketchy Art School, and we post. That way I can see what you did. Mine actually, it's funny again that you're saying this. Mine was just charging up until the very last minute. I think I have an 89% charge, which should be just enough for today. Okay, so hopefully this will let me go in. Here we go. I am going to open Procreate. And here I believe I have a square-ish, yeah, square canvas should be fine. I was opening one earlier today to show someone who is going to remodel a room in my house, how to use the iPad for things like that, and we had a good conversation about this. Hi, Anne, all the way from California. The link for the image, Michael, should be, yes, it's underneath the video. I'm pretty sure the reference photo is underneath the video, and you can save it onto your own device, and boom, okay. And yes, Cynthia, it's looking a little more set up. I don't have boxes behind me, but that's because they're all in front of me. That's that's the reason. It's just, it's one of those optical things. All right, so I have a really cool announcement to make as well. Um, I am going to have a pack of brushes made by Georg, who makes all the favorite brushes I've ever used on the iPad. The reason why the iPad, to me, is such an amazing tool: one, Procreate, in my opinion; secondly, this thing here, the Apple Pencil; and thirdly, the brushes, the quality of the brushes that I found from Georg in Germany are absolutely amazing. I know some of you have already picked up one of his packs, and we are working, him and I, right now, to make a pack of brushes, just of my favorite brushes, and customized just the way I like. And it's going to be called Wagonized, and we're going to get it out there very, very soon. So hopefully you guys will enjoy having a limited pack of brushes, but the brushes that I use. So if some of you want to explore the iPad a little bit more, then I think it's going to be a great companion for that. And of course, I'm going to be showing the promo for that on Instagram, so you won't miss any of this. So for now, I am going to use a Georg brush, believe it or not, one of my favorites. I have it saved in my favorites, and it's called the Elder Sketchman. Either one of those, it doesn't matter because it's exactly the same. I have it saved twice. It makes no sense, but that's how it is. And the Elder Sketcherman is a great brush because if you push it all the way up, it goes very broad, right? And it's got a little bit of texture to it. So let me switch the camera. Can you see it okay here, right? So you see this texture when you press, like not too hard, you've got like almost a paper texture to it. If you press it a little harder, of course, it gets a little broader and darker. See, it's beautiful. Now, I usually use it so that it's not that thick, like halfway. And at the beginning of a drawing, I usually use it very pale, like with very little opacity. So it's a great brush. And again, this is going to be a very similar brush as the one that I absolutely love. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you can see. Oh, this would be hard to see, but there are tooth marks in my Apple Pencil because my cat has been biting on it, believe it or not. Yes, I'm not very proud of that. Oh, I did not know this at all, Ute. You are teaching me something about Georg. Yes, he's a great cartoonist and a brush maker. Provides online services for health workers. Oh my gosh, amazing! See the great people we work with. I love that. I love that. Oh, this is great. Thank you, Ute. I will make sure that on my next email to him, I'll mention that. Okay, so as you know, I start a portrait usually pretty lightly. So let's do I've got what here, 43% opacity. And I'm going to push the width at about 34%. Okay, so 43 in opacity, 34 in brush size. And I'm just going to start extremely loosely as I very often do with something like this. See, like keeping it deliberately loose and keeping my eye on the original photo rather than on my drawing at the very beginning. Just because if I do this, I already made it maybe a little too big to begin with. How about this? Oop. Yeah, this is what I wanted. Okay. Started fast and then noticed that the size was maybe a little big. But now I'm going to make it bigger again. Here we go. Hope everybody had a good week. I'm not sure. On Saturday, I still don't know whether the week was good or not. So that's usually something I assess much later in the weekend, especially with teaching online. This first week of drawing faces with France. Oh, Stina, good question. If you want, if I were you, try to go into calligraphy and try to grab the chalk brush. It doesn't behave like this quite because it's a calligraphy brush, so it's gonna have a tendency to, what would be the right way to put it? It's gonna have a tendency to follow the stroke. It has a bounce to it. I know there's a proper word for it. But it's not a bad substitute for the Georg brush that I'm using. It's actually pretty good. Okay, I really need to be on a 50-50 split. I'm noticing that. I'm better when my original photo is also at a certain size. Okay, brush will be the same. I'm going to use the Elder Sketcherman also for the brush and make it work like this. All right. So Wendy, all right, I'm going to try to follow the questions as much as I can. All right. So Wendy, if you're new to the iPad, go to Procreate and find under calligraphy the brush that is called chalk. It is close to what I'm using. I was just telling Stina that. And chalk will have a fairly good width and behavior for you. You're not going to regret it. We have beautiful weather here in northern New Jersey. Really, actually, amazing weather. It was hard to convince myself to bring myself back inside because we were just sitting out on the deck. Now that I have a deck, things are changing. Okay, so this is still obviously very, very sketchy. Really like that long nose. Okay, why don't we push the opacity? I'm almost all the way up here. I'm at 86. And now I can really... Now, you know what? Let's push the opacity all the way up. Why don't we do that? That way we'll be nice and dark. Boom, boom. Yep. And this is really how I tackle everything now um, since I started drawing on the iPad. I've noticed that it has helped me loosen up for even my paper drawing. So my approach to a portrait has very much been influenced, informed, if you will, impacted by the way I tackle things on the iPad. And I'm very happy about this because the iPad has loosened me up in ways that I think if I had just been using paper, I wouldn't have experienced, or maybe I wouldn't have allowed myself, I should say. And I'm not saying that would be the case for everybody, but I know that in my case, the iPad has been a huge lesson in loosening up. So I hope those of you who are in the class, the October class of Drawing Faces with France, I hope all of you are enjoying this first week. You'll see the second week will be mighty good too, in terms of muses and what we're gonna do. And then I'll see you again next week here for the weekly drawing. I'm tempted to also put a darker background behind all this. What do you say? How about with ooh no, this is dark. How about something like this, like a very light beige, and that beige is going to then allow me to bring in, take a look, if I bring in some white here for the hair, I think it would be fun. See what I mean? That way all the silver in the beard will show as silver. I think it'd be neat, right? Especially right there in the chin. Ooh, I think we're gonna have fun with that. Little trick, everybody, you guys probably know this, but at the very top here, when you long press on your color, it can toggle back and forth between what you're using and the one you used previously. So, yay. Okay, Jenny, I'm glad to hear that you've liked the class. I absolutely love seeing the work that you do. Seeing you guys, grow as artists is that's it. That's the stuff, I have to say. Gives me so much purpose. Means a lot. Yeah, it's funny. I didn't think I would draw this on on a toned background, but I don't know, I hope it works, right? So, Frank, what you can do with, oh, this is such a good question. Okay. So, this is how I would do it. Okay. So, Frank, when I do this on paper, right, and I approach an area which is going to have to be left alone, basically. So, what you do is where you see white hair, you're going to leave that in negative space. So, in order to, instead of drawing in white, you're not going to draw at all. And you're going to cover everything else with a very, very thin layer of pencil, which is going to create all the depth that you see on his face, because the face, everywhere, wherever you are in the face, maybe here you have a little bit of reflection, which is, I would say, almost white, but otherwise you don't have a white area like the shiny wet that you have in the beard. So all this can be basically a very thin layer like this, if you will. You see what I'm doing right now, Frank? With your pencil, go extremely lightly, and you can start laying a foundation for, you know, the face to be in a certain tone. Okay, I'm going to take care of that with a broader stroke myself in a minute, but I will actually bring that around, not quite yet. Does that make sense, Frank? I hope I address the issue. So basically, leave it alone, negative space, and put everything a notch darker, so that that white, if you're on white paper, suddenly pops, you know, as being light. Okay, I need to know that. So, Jenny, I would love if you could send me that via email, like that photo of that canson mi-teinte that you took. I want to see it in an email if you can. I mean, don't feel obligated to do this today or anything, but I want to know if the photo that I would take of my own canson mi-teinte, I have a few here. Some of them are even blue, and some of them are darker. Um, I would like to compare it with the kind of photo that I can take. You probably took that with an iPhone, I gather, right? Okay. Okay. I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying the class so far. Okay, I'm gonna try to resist the urge to crosshatch quite yet, okay? This is hard. Temptation is so strong. I absolutely love how annoyed Dark Stone looks here on this photo. There's something annoyed about that look that I can't resist. And why don't I just add a dash of white here in the eye? Why not? Yeah, just adds a little bit more depth to this eye. Okay, I'll come back with a broader brush in a minute. So these lines that I'm making here are basically contouring the shadows on the face. Yeah. Yeah, Jenny, I would love if you could do that. Great. And I agree that it gives an analog feel to a drawing. And I think in some ways that's kind of what I'm missing in some of my drawings. I think on Procreate. Sometimes I would like to have that texture in the background, and I turn around and I see your drawings. I'm like, oh, I love how she did that background. Okay, I guess we're not too far from the truth here. All right. Let's see the distance that there is between the corner of the eye and where the fold here over the nostril starts. I think I'm going to put it right here. nostril. Side of that cheek. It's interesting that it comes up here, right underneath the eye. Love this expression. And okay, a pretty challenging mouth. You've probably noticed that I've been avoiding making this interesting shaped mouth. Okay, let's see if we can make it happen. Best we can. There are teeth involved, which means probably a little bit of negative space happening. And this lower lip, kind of sticking out like, love that. Boom, a little bit of facial hair coming back down this way. Yeah? Okay. Nikira, I totally understand. And Stina, about scanning versus taking a photo, sometimes though, be careful because the scanners has a tendency to flatten those kinds of textures, I found, because the scanner is so bright that it will have a tendency to annihilate. That's my opinion, okay? Some of the textures that I think you can get from taking a photo rather than scanning. Does that make sense? I mean, you can try both. I also have my scanner right here, and I would be curious to find out what happens if I scan. So let me ask you, Jenny, when you do that, when you use the paper, the textured paper as your background, do you actually use it as layer one and you start drawing on layer two? I guess that's my question. I would say that's probably the case, but I could be wrong. An interesting beard we've got here going on. Cleaning up everything on the edges, but cleaning up too much is not necessarily a goal of mine. Like, the remarks here. Fine. I'm going to go back to lowering the opacity to about 38%. There you go. Now I'm going to go, let's see, just adding a little bit of dark in some areas. See, like here. And right now I am going into more depth. Okay, starting to take shape a little bit. I might have made his face just a little narrower. When that happens, I just take a tiny bit out. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Okay. That's a very good question, Ute, about. Yes, I've done that before where at the beginning, I think at the beginning that I was using Sketchy, about like 3, 4 years ago, my instinct was to always turn photos into black and whites because I was so used to seeing the world that way, I guess, at least whenever I sketched. And then that need became less and less. And I think I grew used to dealing with tones, just regular tones, and translate them into lights and darks. But it's true that at first I would definitely, flip a photo into black and white. Yeah, I did that a lot, or push the contrast a little bit more. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. A photo is a photo is a photo. That's perfectly fine. Yeah. Yeah, is it cheating? Probably, sure. Then you guys can burn me at the stake. I'm okay with that. In my opinion, there are no rules because, for instance, if as an artist you are going to grow from, let's say, tracing a photo at first, just to really get a feel for how it works, I would say go for it. Go for whatever is going to help you learn. For me, how, who am I to tell you to not do something? Um, Everything works, everything goes, you know. If you understand the human face better as a result of having traced a human face on a layer of, let's say, Procreate, I say amen to that. That's, to me, that's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. And I know I would probably be criticized for saying that, but that's the beauty of not being an academic. I really don't feel, bound by any rules at all. Yeah. So that's my 2 cents on this matter, everybody. I say go for what advances your learning. Period. When I'm being asked, "Oh, do you use this and that method?" and these are things I've never heard in my life, I'm tempted to say I'm sorry that I'm not as academic as I should be, but I'm really not. The ultimate goal is to enjoy what you do, to be happy with your work, to grow from it, and everything else, is bickering. I'm liking this face a lot, people. Really a lot. Oh, liking it way a little too much. There we go. And now I'm slowly going through it by scribbling. basically. There's nothing very serious about what I'm doing. It's just, yeah, Caroline, I totally understand that. And thank you, Betty. I stick by that definitely. Yeah, and Jackie, absolutely. The last thing you want is to be intimidated by, somebody else's level or, level of expertise or whatever. I think, we all started somewhere. I started with this, very, I guess, unusual background of having no training whatsoever, and um, you have to go with what works for you because everything else will just be inhibition, and we don't want that. We really don't want that. Okay, it's getting a little cartoony, baby. I hope you like it. So, Carrie, I'm going to answer this question right away. I am using a brush by Georg in Germany. It's called the Elder Sketcherman. And this is soon going to be a brush that's going to be part of a pack that we are putting together with Georg that is going to be just my favorite brushes on Procreate. Thank you, thank you, Anne, for responding. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Thank you guys for answering some of these questions because I can't answer them all. I think the likeness thing that you're mentioning, Stina, is only a problem when we draw people that are instantly recognizable and so forth. This is why I tend to stay away from drawing celebrities. Me personally, when I draw anybody, I tend to want to let go of the likeness and play. And if anybody wants to judge the drawing on the likeness, then that's great. But that wasn't really my goal. I'm adding details right now, so I'm juggling a little bit with the width. Look at the size of these eyelashes, ladies and gentlemen. I envy that. And I'm not an envious person to begin with, but oh, eyelashes. Okay, let's not forget that we have a lot of facial hair to deal with here. So our muse is dark stone, and the reference photo, Debbie, is below the video today. Yes. So, how many of you are on the iPad today? If you want to share what you're using, I would love to know. Okay. I was wondering why I couldn't erase with my eraser. I hope the iPad is agreeing with you. In order to make hair appear, I just draw lines, kind of like this, especially when it's shaved hair. It gives the impression of, that very short. Let me move it this way. Very short hair. There we go. Ta-da. Okay, Angela, that sounds good. iPad, all right. Mixed media and mechanical 2B pencil sounds good. Okay, using the chalk. Okay. Yep. No iPad, no problem. Pencil or paper. Cool. Okay, Karen, pen. Awesome. Ballpoint. Very good. Okay, ballpoint pen. iPad, Elder Sketchman. Okay, very cool. Fountain pen, Ute. Okay, Truk, you are using Lamy. Sweet. Graphite, blue big pen. My gosh. Excellent. I'm glad you guys are using all kinds of media. And I agree, this month there will be a Rick drawing coming up in one of my lessons because I found the right one. How can I not? Hmm. Too, too broad sometimes, the strokes. Yeah, this might be good. See, what I'm doing here is adding a little bit of cross hatching over where I drew so that they show like this frown in the forehead. And as I'm looking up, I noticed, Stina, are there wrong Rick photos? That's a good question. Rick has such a trove of photos to offer us. You are bound to find, right, the ones you're gonna lean towards. Like I know there's a type of Rick photo that I like, and they're usually much more natural than the costume and you know the whole fun thing that he does. Those are my favorite Rick photos, the kinds where he's just kind of more introspective and on his own, and sometimes with a cigarette, and just honestly sometimes looking a little sad. I just really love those. Not sure why. No, I think I know why. Because in my opinion, he doesn't put up a front. It's him. It's more raw, and I'm more drawn to that, I guess. Okay, here comes the silver, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit here. Okay, and now let's go down this cheek. Jawline, I should say, rather. Okay. And we're going to mix that with some black. Oh, you can barely see that here. Okay, let me see if I can lower. That doesn't help a whole lot. Okay, this might be a little better. I know I'm getting a little close, but hopefully this will allow you to see the white. Okay. So if you're drawing in black pen, it depends on what kind of paper you are using, Amy. Are you using a toned paper or is it white? If it's white paper, then do the white hair as negative space, like I was, telling Frank earlier. And Frank, I really hope it made sense, all the stuff I said. And if you are indeed on toned paper, as like I chose to have a toned background here, then use like a white gel pen. Those are great for things like this. Or a China marker, those white China markers. Those are pretty neat too, if you don't plan on going over them at all. That's crucial. Lower the opacity here for the gray. See how things get a little darker here on the edge of the beard? Yeah. Okay. And starting Monday, we're going to be already in week 2 of Drawing Faces with France in October. I know a lot of you have been so productive with Inktober. My gosh, I could not keep up with all of it personally, because Drawing Faces with France is keeping me very busy. But it looks really fabulous, the drawings that I see coming out of Inktober. Oh, Gorgeous. All right, I need to add a little bit of light. There we go. Okay, how much time do I still have? Oh, okay, 15 minutes. Guys, do you think I can finish this in 15 minutes? I think so. Oops, didn't realize that I was in white here. Needed to be black. Okay, here we go. So you see how the cross hatching came last, kind of like as a how could I explain this? Like to enforce what I'm doing already with the values. But no matter what, and those of you who have been taking these classes with me know this by now because I say this enough. Go lightly on your layers of cross hatching and go many. So lightly and many rather than one big one, with a lot of pressure, because you're going to end up a little disappointed if you do that approach. Okay. I am going to lower the opacity again all the way down, and I'm just going to add another layer of very subtle just a layer of dark, but not pushing it too much. Okay, I'm now lightening it in some places. I know it seems weird to do this, but oh, this is some close-up that you're getting here. I hope it's okay. All right. Thank you, Anne, and thank you for answering some of the questions that I'm getting but cannot address because my nose is in the drawing. You know what I mean? Oh boy. I think I just made these teeth a little too white and it looked like almost a caricature. I don't wanna do that. Ooh, too dark. Okay, so for the end here, I'm adding a little bit of these black strokes in the beard, but then I'm going to go over them again with white to add some interesting depth. Okay. Okay, let me go back now with my white. Okay, let me keep track of time. Oh, we're getting close. Okay. All right, everybody. Again, another layer of white. Push the opacity all the way up to make those marks. A little better. There we go. I hope no matter what medium you're using today, you're enjoying the process. And a little bit there. And I think I am super close to ending things now as I'm approaching 1 o'clock. A little bit of facial hair here. Okay, so hopefully Dark Stone will be happy about what we did. So this is week 2 of drawing faces with France. This is one of the Procreate sessions, obviously finishing up right now. And I hope I will see you very soon next week for the next lesson. And then, of course, next week, next Saturday, we'll be doing the live again. I need to keep track of how many we've done since March. I think the line here on the ear is a little strong and for my liking, so I'm going to take away a tiny little bit here. Yeah, that's a little better. Okay. I feel a little better about this. All right, so as I said, week 2 is starting on Monday. We're going to see each other at Sketchy Art School. Right now, what I see from the camera is really not what I have on my iPad. What I have on my iPad is a lot darker, and if I lower the darkness, hopefully this will show, but I'm really not sure that this does it justice. I think the best way for you to see this will be to go on Sketchy Art School. We're going to go to the free group. The group is Drawing with France. You can also post that in the lesson, but let's put it rather in Drawing with France, which is where we've always put our live drawings. I'm going to do it now, and I hope you guys have a good week after this. You will see me again during those lessons. Oh my gosh, this is so bright on camera. Um, I can't wait to show you the brush pack too, the wagonized brush pack, which is the Georg pack made just for, just for me. And I'll share it with you. This will be put out there in I would say, the next few days. So I hope you guys have fun drawing the 2 drawings that we have lined up for this week, plus the next live. I will see you on the 17th of October right here for the live as well at noon. And can you please have a great week? Enjoy every drawing you do. Again, it doesn't have to be in the medium that I use, but as long as you enjoy it, that's all that matters, right? All right, let's post this and we'll see each other again very soon. Have a great week. Thank you so much all for being here with me again today. All right, bye everyone. Ciao, abrazos y besos. Okay, bye. Thanks everyone for being here today. Ciao.